guys, welcome to Cameras and Cats. Today we're going to talk about the Pentax IQ Zoom 140M, and I'm going to give you my 5 reasons why this is one of my favorite cameras to travel with, so stay tuned. Here is the camera, and it is a 35mm point and shoot camera, and it was made between like 1994 and 1998. I think I was trying to do some research, but it was kind of hard to find paperwork and stuff on this camera, but it looks like it's about that old, and the vibe and everything seems that way. There's 5 reasons why I love this camera and why I take it with me on every single trip I go on, so I'm going to tell you those now. So number 1 is that it's really small, light, and portable. So even when I bring like 10 other cameras with me on my trips, I can still squeeze this one in my bag and find a little spot for it. So I love that. And number 2 is that it's actually a lot sharper than you'd expect. This camera is, you know, kind of junky, but the lens is actually surprisingly crisp. Like when I get photos back from this camera, it's actually sometimes sharper than like some of my more expensive cameras, especially if you use a 100 speed film. So I've started doing that all the time. But you have to make sure that you're like outside in the sunlight or the daylight to make sure that the photos are bright enough, because otherwise, you know, if you use 100 speed film, sometimes in the dark or in a low light situation, or if it's like cloudy outside, your photos might not be like as crisp. They might get a little blurry because you're not getting in as much light. So just make sure you use a 100 speed film to really get that sharp crispness that this camera is capable of. Number 3. Now what?
Then you cut, so then you can cut it.
Number 3 is that it's really cheap. This camera sells on eBay from about $20 to $40. I actually got this, I think, for like $13 from KEH Camera, which that was like probably 8 years ago or something like that. And it's kind of hard to find. There's a lot of different models of the same camera, but this specific one is a little bit harder to find, but I did see a couple on eBay, so you can pick it up. But $20 to $40 is pretty cheap. I think this camera originally sold for like $300, I'm not sure. And it's kind of hard to find, so I would get one as soon as you can, because I've noticed they've started going up in price on like Etsy and stuff, so definitely want to grab one of these while you can. Number 4.
Yeah, that's good.
No. Number 4.
Yeah, that's good.
Why does that feel weird? Number 4 is that it has a flash, which when you're traveling, for me is really important, because sometimes like after I've done my daytime photos and I'm ready to kind of like get rid of my heavy camera bag and just bring a camera out to dinner, this would be the one that I take, because it has a flash. So if you're in a dark restaurant, it's like the perfect camera to take with you, and it's just kind of like a fun like party vibe when you use the flash, so that's always cool. Number 5 is my favorite reason why I love this camera. My favorite reason. And number 5, which is my personal favorite reason why I love this camera, is that it has this special feature where you can switch between a panorama shape and like a regular 35mm frame. So there's just this little switch on the back, and you just click it, and you can be in the middle of a roll. You can switch back and forth from every other photo if you want. So when you're traveling, like for me, I love using a panorama frame, because we're always like at the top of a mountaintop or at the top of a bell tower, or we're like hiking up some giant hill or looking at some beautiful beach or view. So I always want to capture that whole landscape. So that's definitely one of my favorite things about this camera, for sure. So I have a bonus reason why you should get this camera, and I haven't actually tried it yet, but this camera has like a super ridiculous zoom lens. It's like crazy, but I'm so dumb. I like didn't even know it had it, and I haven't tried it out yet. It's wild. But I don't actually typically use zoom lenses like on point and shoot cameras, because I feel like it affects the quality of the photo. So, and I also prefer just wider shots in general, especially when I'm traveling. So I'm not sure how much I'll actually use it anyway, but it's still a really cool feature, especially if you're traveling and you want to zoom into like a really far away mountain or boat or something like that. So for that, it's definitely useful. So yeah, you should definitely pick up this camera. It's super fun, has lots of really cool features. I want to do a full review at some point because it actually has surprisingly like a lot of cool little things you can do on this camera for being so cheap and being a tiny little point and shoot. This camera's pretty special. You should pick one up for sure and let me know what you think. Today we are in Kauai, staying at the Kauai Inn, and it's beautiful and there's roosters everywhere.
Just a regular day. That's pretty much absolutely insane looking over there.
We should go over here so we can take more. Now you go over there and I'll take a picture of you.
God.
Chris almost fell down the mountain.
Time for the surface.
Right here.
And now he throws the coconut over to the canyon area.
I'm scared. Chris, you really almost slid down the freaking cliffside.
Go!
Nice.
Oh, nothing to see here, just a crazy river in the middle of this Martian desert. Totally normal. Just a slightly big canyon. Look, there's a helicopter. They do a lot of canyon tours here. Lots of canyon tours. Because it would be kind of sick in a helicopter, wouldn't it, Mel?
Nope, too scary for me.
Here's a little baby camera. Standard 35 mil. Let's get the shots in today. Does your pointer finger, is it like sprained yet? Clicking?
Haha.
Should be.
Thanks so much for tuning into Cameras and Cats. Make sure to like and subscribe and be nice. You can follow me on Instagram at Myles Katherine, at Traveling Holga, or at Cameras and Cats. And you can also find me on Patreon, patreon.com/Myles Katherine. This thing, my button's messed up, so even if I barely touch it, it opens, which is really annoying. But anyway, so yeah, if you like my photos, you should check out more on Patreon. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month just to help support the creation of more images and to help me buy film, because film is crazy expensive, as we all know, and just keeps going up. But yeah, thanks so much. Have a great day.
Okay, you don't move, I move. You don't move, I move.
This microphone's better because
Okay, no speaking.
more. Okay.
I'm gonna give you my top 5 favorite reasons. So even when I bring like 10 other trips on my cameras.
10 other trips on your cameras.
So I love that. I suck at this. I can't be this person.
So his favorite is raisin. It's fine. Okay.
So I always want to capture that whole landscape. Thanks so much for tuning in. Okay. Stop!